When I visited St. Joe's, I had this just overwhelming feeling of family. Wherever I walked, people were saying hello, and that might seem like a little thing, but it's actually a big thing.
As a freshman, I wanted to study biology and mathematics, and St. Joe's really encouraged that interdisciplinary education, and that was ultimately the reason I chose St. Joe's.
I went on a first tour with my sister, and just like talking to people, they really had my best interests at heart rather than just thinking of me as a number.
Being Jesuit to us starts first and foremost with a commitment to excellence, a commitment to rigor, a commitment to inquiry, a commitment to making a difference, a realization at some point over the 4 years that the education that you're receiving here at St. Joe's isn't really for you, it's for you to do something with for the betterment of our society, for the betterment of others.
As a Jesuit school, we have a different approach to learning, and we spend our time basically trying to engage the students in wanting to learn. So we don't walk into the classroom trying to force knowledge upon them. We bring them into it.
I think the single best thing St. Joe's has is the access to a very caring faculty and a very committed faculty and a very accomplished faculty.
Before here, I was at an Ivy League institution. My interest in St. Joe's really started with the ability to interact with students and the ability to do that while at the same time maintaining a high-level research program was really enticing, and it's essentially the best of both worlds for me.
I've seen so much growth and discovery on the part of students who are involved in service learning. Not only do they become more open-minded, more involved in the community, more excited about life, but they also really value their education more because they realize that there's so many people around us who haven't had those benefits.
In my classes, we talk a lot about proximity, which Martin Luther King talked about a lot. As a journalist, that was kind of my job, is to be close to issues. And so I wanted a place that could use that philosophy, to put that philosophy in play into a college education. You can't do that if you have a class of 100 people. You can only do that if you have a class of 20 or 30 at the most people. At St. Joe's, we have that.
When I'm out in the public and I have a St. Joe's shirt on, people will literally come up and tap me or say, you go to St. Joe's? I'm like, yeah, I do. They're like, the Hawk will never die. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know. You know what I mean? It's funny because we don't have as many students as maybe bigger public schools. It is interesting to see how many people on the street, when I go to the beach, when I'm in Florida, wherever I may be, even in Italy with my basketball team, we saw a St. Joe's alumni at the Vatican. The alumni base really does stretch farther than you can even imagine.
I grew up coming to Big Five games. My dad would take my brother and I remember sitting on the side in Hagen and staring at the student section and thinking I'd love to be a part of that. And my freshman year, the home opener, I was in attendance, and I just remember standing up before the game started and hearing the drum beat and the countdown and getting ready to sing the fight song. And I was with my friends, and I turned and I just started crying. And they made fun of me, and I was like, you don't understand. Like, this is what I waited for 18 years. And my friends and I, we can't sit in the student section anymore, but we'll be back.
The vast majority of our students have internships or co-ops. When I say vast majority, it's in the 90s, the percentage, the number of students that are able to get internships, that are able to get co-ops, and it's huge. It's huge for these students.
Really, for me, the biggest differentiating factor was the opportunity to get a business school degree through a curriculum that's centered around the liberal arts. So, you develop those technical abilities that you need to excel, but also that greater breadth of perspective that you develop, being exposed to that liberal arts curriculum.
I chose St. Joe's, and now JP Morgan Chase chose me.
I chose St. Joe's, and KPMG chose me.
I chose St. Joseph's, and now Wall Street chose me.
I chose St. Joe's, but now Hormel Foods chose me.
I chose St. Joe's, and PricewaterhouseCoopers chose me. So far in my 22 years of life, I have not made many decisions that were solely on my own, but the decision to come to St. Joseph's University was one decision that I made completely on my own, and it was absolutely the best decision that I made in my life.